Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, a new buyer's code for Three Dog Knife. You can get some serious discounts on some seriously cool Alaskan blades. I have a whole scat of new knives to show off. And then I want to talk about what's your favorite blade from history. Uh, I've got a bunch of them behind me, but I want to find out what yours are. And so we'll talk about that. I hope you guys are doing all right tonight. I am doing okay. And this is not a Chick-fil-A ad. I just happen to have some iced tea here with me. Hope you guys are doing great. OG Blade Reviews, good to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob, Jim, and all knife junkies. I'm fresh off the plane from Charleston, so no carry today, courtesy of TSA. I'm sure you got a sharp pen on you somewhere, Dave. My favorite blade from history must be the Chinese double-edged Chan or Qian. Very cool. Is that that long double-edged sword that you see in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that kind of thing? Let me know. Marco, nice to have you here, Marco. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Evening to you, sir. Another thing I want to mention, which I didn't, Carino1, how you doing? Good evening, Jim, Bob, and fellow junkies. Favorite blade from history? I've always coveted the U.S. Light Cavalry Saber. Nice choice, sir. Nice choice. We are going to be giving this knife away. Speaking of Dave and OG Blade Reviews, let me just put this under Ground Fog. Nice to have you here, sir. This is the Max Chichuk designed Shieldin Colibri. We're going to be giving this away today, and it comes in this beautiful, fell out of my hand, nylon pouch that most Shieldens come in. But this thing is a seriously cool little front flipper. Beautiful color scheme here with the G10 and a gorgeous plunge grind. Look at that plunge grind. So really nice blade. You'll forgive me if I'm not the greatest front flipper with my left hand, but it doesn't matter. We're giving this away. So hashtag knife in the comments tonight. We'll be giving this away probably a few minutes after 11. As we usually do. So I will be pulling this up from time to time just to remind you to put hashtag knife in the comments. If it's not your kind of knife, it doesn't matter. Still put hashtag knife in there. And if you win it, give it to a friend. Look like a hero. Trent Costello, nice to have you here, Trent. My favorite, I guess, is the first knife because it's been on like Donkey Kong ever since. Trent, I must admit, I'm Donkey Kong illiterate, but that is from my generation. It's just my parents didn't get us video games, so I was not always the coolest. But I like the first knife too. Chrisville, USA, good to have you here, Chrisville. I'm loving the Put on the Glasses. What's that called? What's that movie called? I love it anyway. Great avatar right here. I always like the World War bolos. Oh yeah, me too. Me too. And I have something in the same family with this bolo here, but it's that was more of a something for medics. Jock's Knife, nice to have you here, Jock. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Hope all is well across the pond. Favorite blade from history, and I like the way you put the U in favorite, just showing that you're a class gentleman, is, as a Scotsman, the William Wallace sword, two-hand, 5 foot 4 inches long, and 6 pounds heavy, or the Fairbairn Sykes, kind of the opposite realm, opposite end of the double edge, but I like both of those. And I like that you use pounds and not kilos. Come on, let's keep it real. Sword XXXY, good to have you here, sir. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Those two guys, I owe knives, and I have your packages right here. Things have been, well, akimbo. But this week I will be getting to the post office, and you will both be getting your knives. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. My favorite blades from history would be my favorite blade from history would be the 13th century medieval arming sword and the sax, or siax. I think it's just sax, but the arming sword is cool. I didn't really know much about it until, well, I watched a video like all of us on YouTube about it. James Hart, nice to have you here, James. He says, evening all. Well, good evening to you, sir. I'm still pondering the question. James is kind of vacillating between his large swords and his kukris. I think. Red Astrochan, nice to have you here, sir. Randall Astro 17. So that was the Randall model 17 that went into space. It had a serrated back edge and a hollow handle, I believe, all aluminum. A fine choice, sir. James says it's down to 3: the Nepalese kukri, the Scottish dirk, or the American Bowie knife. Ah, you're speaking my language, sir. I love all of those knives, but yeah, for me, the Bowie, it's the Bowie. James says, but considering I have 7 kukris, it's a moot point. Yes, indeed. So I guess it's the kukri for me. Yeah, and the cool thing about the kukri is that it's very unexpected. To the untrained eye, it looks like a mistake, like the F4 Phantom fighter. You know, it's got a lot of weird angles, and how can this work? But lo and behold, it did. Brian, nice to have you here, sir. It would be the Bowie and some of its makers like James Black and others. Excellent choice. And from your avatar, the picture in your avatar, you look like a Bowie guy. Um, I'm with you. I think Bowies are my favorite. I know Bowies are my favorite. Matholomew Roberts, nice to have you here, Matt. He says, "Happy Thursday Night Knives." As Happy Thursday Night Knives, Bob, Jimmy Notes, and Junkies all. The Macedonian Copus, or I've heard people say Macedonian. Well, that's just what's his name from Hardcore History, but I'm Macedonian, so I'm going to say that. The Macedonian Copus, which is kind of like a large kukri, or it was the predecessor of the kukri, or perhaps the spiritual cousin, and maybe by relation, the kukri are tops. But man, nothing beats a big American clip point Bowie. I definitely have a type. Yes, sir. The Copus is cool. I almost like it better than the kukri because it's bigger, and they're generally shown with hand guards, which I also like. James Hart says, I have several big Bowie knives, but when I hold my military kukri, something stirs deep down. Yes, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. It might be a little bit like when I hold a Bowie, and I'm going to show you a really sweet Bowie that Jim just got me. Let me show this to you right now. This is the Wild Turkey Bowie. Jim did a little bit of whatnotting, and he got this for me, which is so cool. Thank you again, Jim, for this beautiful Christmas present. It's a gorgeous sort of Western style Bowie with the S guard and the big deep belly, hollow ground bevels, and super sharp. It came really sharp. I also love this sort of purple gray handle. It's like a thunder cloud gray. Really nice. It comes in a pretty decent sheath. I like it, though I'm considering getting rid of this because I'm not a dangler. I'm a stuffer. I like to stuff it under the belt. But I love this thing. We just had a plumber in the house. We've got some major shit going on here. So if you see me do this show from my porch, that's why, because the man cave here is the most affected from our issues. But anyway, we had a plumber here, and I was telling Jim, I had just sharpened it or just honed it. It was nice and sharp, but I had this at the ready the whole time. You never know when a plumber's going to go rogue. So I had this with me and felt very secure. All right. An American father. Nice to have you here, sir. He says, I'm from the hills of Kentucky. For me, all of my childhood heroes carried Bowie knives. Yep. Right next to their scattergun. When I was in grade 9, I wrote a paper on the Bowie knife and what it means to country boys. Somehow that paper made it to the Bowie family. How cool. At their request, we met for dinner. And in an experience that is an experience that shaped the man I am today. How cool. That is really cool. Well, I'm with you, an American father, in my love for the Bowie. But I never wrote a paper on it. And man, to actually meet the family, the descendants of the man who created that, how very cool. Benedict Odie, nice to have you here, Ben. Howdy all, Bob and Jim. It's a good day to be a Thursday Night Knives. Indeed, it is the beginning of the weekend. Fishbag 61. Fishbag, who are you again? I always it's hard to remember some of these names. Are you Craig? Anyway, evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Unsurprisingly, my favorite knife from history is, of course, the Bowie. Yes, sir. I'm with you, man. Scott, nice to have you here, Scott. What a dilemma that question is to me. Okay, I've decided. The Yoroi, because I hear in Japanese you pronounce every letter. The Yoroi Doshi. Let's say the Yoroi Doshi, the Japanese armor-piercing bad boy. Simple yet ferocious, plain yet beautiful. A true last stand fighting knife. I like that. I like that. I got to say, most fighting knives in this day and age, this day of gunpowder, are last-ditch fighting knives. Cat Scratch, good to have you here, Cat Scratch. Hello, everybody. My favorite blade from history is the Benchmade 42 Springer. I'm not sure which one that is, but very interesting that you're going Benchmade. Tell us in a comment what that is. Fred Ferbemeyer, nice to have you here, sir. He says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, sir. It's a pleasure having you here. 1931 Leatherworks. Hello, everyone, he says. Hello to you, Terry. Hope you're doing great this fine evening. We got Jerry C. Good to have you here, Jerry. Good evening, all. Yes, my brother got me new brass knuckles. My brother's the man. I just saw him for Thanksgiving, and I walked away with this and a knife I'll show you later. He says, good evening, fellow junkies. I also bought a few new blades. Good to have you here, Terminator Joe. Favorite blade, there's so many, but the Bowie is in the top 5. Okay, top 5. I'd say Bowie, Kukri, Dagger, Yatagan is a big one. Ooh, oh yes, that's a nice one. That's a nice one with that spear point blade. That's a beauty. Nicely done, sir. Here, I'll show it since I've got it. Cheeto Bandito, nice to have you here, man. So these are the knives my brother, these are what my brother gave me as a Thanksgiving present. So the paperweight that he got at a leather show, that's a gun show to you and me, a leather show recently. And he got me this really cool ACK World. That means not produced in Italy, but I think in China. Roma swing guard dagger and or swing guard knife, and it is sweet. And he taught me, my brother has gone way down the Italian stiletto rabbit hole, that when you put it in, you should press the button just to save the mechanism. I love this thing. This thing is so cool. It also comes with a pleather sheath, but this combo is very menacing. Like, yeah, have her home by 9. You know what I'm saying? Terminator Joe says, good evening, fellow junkies. I also bought, oh, okay, we've seen this one. And the Bowie is in your top 5. I'm not surprised considering Terminator loves this knife, right? Yeah. Yes, as do I. Hero Sticks, nice to have you here, Hero. Evening and cheers, Bob, Jim, and junkies. Well, good evening to you, Hero. Hope you're doing great. Fred says, hello, Bob. Well, hello to you, sir. I'm going to put this blade away so I can pull out yet another. But thank you again, Jim, for this beauty. There's the leather sheath, and it's got the snap. But like I said, this might change in the future. Gary Balmain, good to have you here, Gary. Having grown up as a military brat in the Philippines, how cool. It would be the Chris, and in second place, the Kukri. Hashtag knife, because he wants to win this. But Gary, I'll tell you, my brother, who just went down the Italian stiletto rabbit hole, also went down the Filipino Chris rabbit hole. And he was like, I wish I never gave you this, Chris, a few years ago, because now I'm totally into them. So I think for Christmas, I'm going to give him that. And I know he wants one of these, a Mayhem with the snaggletooth MF, and I think I'll give that back to him since he's so into Chris's right now. It'll be good juju, and plus he's spread so much good juju in my direction. I should give that to him. And since I have this out, hang on one second, Mike. Since I have this out, I'll let you know I just used this mayhem to go through a bunch of carpet in this very room I'm in. You can see it's a little dirty from work, and this huge bellied 6-inch blade just mangled the carpet. It went through the carpet great. There was this wool kind of under layer that it's even that struggled with, but I would strop it up and keep going. And that knife saved my bacon. So these are not just cool to have in an alley fight, but this is a great working knife. It worked so well and felt great in hand, and it was not pleasant work. It was not pleasant work at all, but this did short work of it. So Mr. Hauser, he says, good evening, all. Good evening to you, Mike. So many choices. Let's get this out. Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, First Blood, Jimmy Lyle, custom survival knife. Excellent. Historical importance. Every man and most women in the U.S. have one. True that. True that. Except mine was always the cheap Fury version. Scott says, howdy all. Scott, pleasure. Well, actually, you will let us know. Chris 229, nice to have you here, Chris. He says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, man. Hope you're doing well. We got Sean Clark saying, good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Hope everyone had a good holiday. My favorite from history would be a Bowie. And yeah, every one of us is talking Bowie, and I have failed to say happy Thanksgiving to you all. I hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving. I've got a bunch of these kind of blades out on the table tonight. So Bowie knives. This one is the Western Bowie from Cold Steel, kind of apropos given the knife that Jim just gave me. So I'll leave that there. Mike of Northern Knives says, hey, Jim, Bob, and Junkies, happy Thursday night knives. All right, since we have Mike here of Three Dog Knife and Northern Knives, I'll get to that in a second. John Schaaf, nice to have you here, John. Good to be back with everyone, and good evening all. Good to be back with you, John. Favorite historical blade, I'd say it's executioner axe. Off with their heads. Yeah, and you know what? Those executioners were very often drunk. And even though they held a place of prominence, they were also shunned by everyone. Their families were shunned. So they were oftentimes big drinkers. And this is another hardcore history fact. And they would frequently mess up while trying to chop someone's head off and like hack in the wrong, not be right on target. And it was very rarely just a smooth one shot, one kill kind of thing. And, people would get mangled up on stage and so executioners, whew, that's quite a game there. But let me just show you this. This is really cool. Let me put this aside. So Mike of Northern Knives sent me two of these, and one of them we're going to be giving away next month. This one is mine, and it has done some dirty duty around the house. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but no, it's not dog poop, so it's not that dirty. But this beautiful knife is a knife that Three Dog Knife is making. It's a Trevor Barrett design. Trevor Barrett's a guy who won one of the Forged in Fire episodes, and he's an Alaskan. As Mike and Northern Knives are up in Anchorage, they are OEMing this knife for him, and it is awesome. This is a 52-100 outdoor tanto, we'll call it, and I'm calling it an outdoor tanto because Mike and Northern Knives, they make knives that are first and foremost ready and willing for the outdoors. It looks like a big, bad tactical knife, and it could definitely be that. But it is really meant for all sorts of outdoor chores and duties. They are beautiful. I have one, same handle with black, a black hooded blade. We'll be giving that away next month in January 2026. Manage. But I just wanted to show this off and also let you know that here, I'm going to put a couple other Three Dog knives out here. They are offering us something unreasonably awesome a 25% off coupon code. So if you go to the knifejunkie.com/3dogknife, that takes you to the 3 Dog Knife website, not the Northern Knives website, but the 3 Dog Knife website. And if you buy one of these knives, and there are others also, and put in the coupon code section Knife Junkie, you'll get 25% off. Can you believe that? That is like the most generous coupon code ever. And this is the Riot, by the way, also a great outdoor Tonto, but also extremely comfortable in a back alley with that recurve straight portion, which is a contradiction in terms, but you know what I mean. This slight recurve and this big long front portion and the secondary point. I mean, this would make a wicked fighting knife. That's not its primary purpose, but it would be great for that also. Let's put it that way. Plus, you get these amazing Johnston sheaths, these beautiful leather sheaths made in Alaska that come with these knives. So go to 3dogknife.com, or actually better yet, go to theknifejunkie.com/3dogknife. That'll take you right there. And buy one of these knives, put in the coupon code Knife Junkie, all one word, lowercase, and get 25% off. Thank you, Mike. I love that. I love this offer. We're going to keep talking about it as long as it's relevant. So, and I think it should be for a while. So go check it out. But this knife, man, this is my new favorite 3 Dog knife. I love this thing. Let me just say, home over Thanksgiving, this came in clutch. Jammin' Parker, nice to have you here, Jammin'. He says, happy Thursday night knives, everyone. My favorite is the classic Western Bowie knife or the Viking sax. Here's the Western Bowie. Oh, what do you know? I've also got the Chieftain sax from Cold Steel. 2 of these knives, exactly what you're talking about. And I love them both. And actually, I'm very fond of saying I think it's very clever. It's a thin line between Bowie and sax, because if you look at the broke back sax here, you see it looks kind of like a Bowie knife with more of a straight edge and a downward descending clip. I think this is what makes it a broke back, that little angle change there. Really, really nice, but one solid grind on the sax, whereas this has 2 bevels, the main cutting bevel and then the swedge bevel. So some little differences that are meaningful, but I love both these knives too, man. I'm with you. Boggy the Pondweed. I think I knew you in college. I like knives, but my favorite blade from history has to be the Roman Gladius. I have one right over there. I should pull it down. It's made by Traditional Filipino Weapons, the guys who make these awesome swords, but they're also into making some classic swords and knives from history. So maybe when we take a break, I'll pull that down. But I too love the Gladius. It's like just a big, giant, angular dagger. I love it. Lone Star Dowboy, nice to have you here, sir. Greetings from Southwest Asia. And I think we are talking about the historic land of Troy, are we not? Let me put this down here. Coming to us from Turkey. Take this, put this away. These very large knives, I feel I have to resheath when I'm done showing them off because I don't want to cut myself. Canary SK, good to have you here, Canary. It's technically fictional, but my favorite historical blade would be Excalibur, the sword in the stone. That's a great choice. So what filmic interpretation of Excalibur do you like the best? And we'll go with that one. Fishbag says, I've had a few Colibri lighters over the years, but never a Colibri knife. Yes, I know. Colibri. I've had a few of the Colibri lighters myself. And he's talking about this knife, this Max Chichuk designed Shieldin blade that we're giving away tonight. All you got to do is put #knife in the chat, and I will send this out to you hopefully tomorrow, if not definitely on Monday. 1931 Leatherworks says, favorite blade from history is the Claymore. I like the Claymore, and you're the second person to mention a Scottish blade, and I love the Scottish basket hilt broadsword. You know, with the very intricate, fully encapsulating or fully yeah, I guess that's a fully encapsulating guard with the red velvet interior. I love that. Keeps your hand warm while you're slaying your foes. Brown Sugar 0069. Great to have you here, Brown Sugar. Hello, Knife Junkie. Well, hello to you, Brown Sugar. Hope the world's treating you well. Same to Bobby Rains. Bobby, how you doing, sir? Great to have you here. Evening, everyone. I bet you can guess what my favorite is. I'm guessing it's the Tonto. No, obviously it is the Fighting Bowie, the long, slender clip point for Bobby Rains. Autumn Wind, nice to have you here, Autumn Wind. Hey, Bob. Hello, all. Well, hello to you, sir. Hope the world's treating you well. Boggy says, man, I love Bowie knives. I do too, man. You're in the right place because I think we have a bunch of Bowie fans here. And I know a lot of people say Bowie, and I've been corrected many, many, many times, but I grew up saying Bowie, and that's it, man. I'm a Yank from Ohio. I'm going to keep saying Bowie until I'm proven wrong, until someone resurrects Jim himself who says, actually, Bobby, it's Bowie. Then I'll say, all right. I'll reluctantly use Bowie. Scott Winters, nice to have you here, Scott. He says, when you mentioned Saratoga Springs, New York, I asked if your dad was in the Navy. You seemed surprised. Our son-in-law is a reactor instructor at the Naval Nuclear Power Training Center, 10 miles west. Okay, no. Okay, no, my dad was in the Air Force in the Vietnam era. I went to school in Saratoga Springs and absolutely loved it. And I think I was surprised because I assumed it was somewhat landlocked. I didn't think there was a Navy installation there, but I've driven the entire width and breadth of Nevada, which is as stone cold. It's not cold at all, but it's absolute desert. And there are several naval training posts there that I drove by, which was also a surprise. But how cool is that? I love Saratoga Springs, New York. It's beautiful. I haven't been there in some 20 years. And before that, it was another, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. But man, it's beautiful up there. And it's so close to Vermont, another beautiful place. And since we're on it, Jim did a This Day in History a feature on the Patreon page a few weeks back, which talked all about the Battle of Saratoga, which was so cool because in this article that Jim wrote and put up, he didn't know this, but I used to go to that cemetery. As an art student, that's what art students do. They go to cemeteries and stuff. Took photographs and made drawings and stuff. It was some, I don't know, 15 miles away from where I went to school. And I had a lot of adventures there and had some intimate moments with girls there, the whole 9 yards. I loved it there. And it was so cool to see it featured in an article on Patreon that Jim did that I didn't even ask for. So I love Saratoga and hope your son is doing well. Karen Slavin, nice to have you here, Karen. Karen. Good evening, fellow junkies. Another fantastic Thursday Night Knives. My favorite blade is the katana, followed closely by the Sword of the Highlands, another Scottish sword lover. Huge fan of all things Highlander. Okay, so the Highlander had the katana sword with the dragon hilt, right? Carrie C says Bowie and Buck 110 clip point for sure. But I also love the Japanese katana, long or short. So no one has mentioned, I guess it's arguable whether it's from history. It is from history, but they're also current. Are all these cool Filipino swords here? I love the barong and the gununting and the Taliban. Hero Stick says, with a nod to my English roots, the 19th century British infantry sword is like my number one. British infantry sword. Okay, cool. So if you're wondering, this is the Taliban. I love that blade. And the hilts on all Filipino knives, I got to be careful of my grandpa's painting, are so beautiful. And then the here with my tactical rosary, which I'm sure is not sanctioned. But anyway, it is blessed though. This is the gununting. That's that downward sickle-shaped blade. Ooh, that's sharp up there. Common among the southern Filipinos. The Filipino Special Marines carry these things and use them to great effect against suckers of all types. There it is. Michael Venter, nice to have you here, Michael. And cool avatar, early guardless coffin handle Bowies, very close to actual wartime Tontos. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I could see what you mean. All paths converge at the top of the mountain. I'm not exactly sure what that last little cryptic bit means, but I think what you mean is there's very little new under the sun. A Tonto that has that sort of upsweep and that long belly, and we're talking about a wartime Tonto, as you said, or a guardless Bowie. It has the same kind of edge shape, maybe a different spine shape, but all things considered, they're kind of similar in effect. Maybe a little different on the thrust. Beroy Blinkens. Beroy Blinkens, 1621. You're speaking my language, sure. The Cinquedilla. Yes, and mine is across the room. I have the Cold Steel Cinquedilla. I love that knife. Big pizza-shaped, big wedge-shaped dagger, 5 fingers wide. That's what Cinquedilla means. Cinque, 5, and I guess dia, fingers. I don't know. But it's supposed to be 5 fingers wide. And I used to live in New York City, and I used to go to the Met a lot, which if you ever go to New York City, at least when I was there, which was for a long time, the $25 asking price to get into the Met is suggested. If you look in the small letters, say so. I would go and give them $1. They're very well endowed, and I didn't have, and I was not, in the monetary sense, if you know what I mean. But I would go in there and pay them $1 so I could go look at paintings and always end up in the armor room. And they have some beautiful Cinquedillas. That's where I first learned about that knife. And you can see them there, and they've got beautiful shaped handles, ivory, very fancy. They were the EDC of the 15th century, Italian Renaissance man walking the streets of Florence who might get in a fight. That's what he was carrying. I'm with you, sir. I love that knife. Lone Star Dowboy says the blade did not initially move me. It was the high karate commercials that led me down the martial path, and through that path, knives. All right, so Lone Star, now I know you're a man of a certain age. You're probably about my age. I remember the high karate commercials. I mean, that's very early in those were in the 70s, and that's like early in my memory. But I remember high karate. The guy puts on the cologne, and women are chasing him down to the point where he's got to use karate to get them off of him. Love that. Zachary Schmid, nice to have you here, Zachary. Evening, Mr. Knife Junkie. Sir, well, thank you. Put an E on the end, sire. That's even better. I'm just kidding. My favorite blade shape, easily the Western Tonto. It's just really unique. Loved at first sight, followed by the Roman Gladius and the infamous Bowie, tied for second. Excuse me, let's see, the Western Tonto and the Bowie. Very nice. I have a bunch of Bowies. They're all Bowies out here tonight. I've been almost all Bowies tonight. But Western Tonto, I guess this is kind of Western Tonto. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you. All beautiful. Boggy the Pondweed says, I need to crack open my Bowie I got for my birthday, but I never used it nor held it. Kind of got my curiosity on the fritz. Wait. Hang on. Boggy, let me see if I understand you correctly. You got a Bowie for your birthday, and forgive me, I don't know when your birthday is, but if it was less than 5 seconds ago and you haven't pulled it out, you gotta do it right now during this broadcast, not broadcast, but during this live stream, and let us know what you got and how you like it. But I never used it nor held it. Yes, let us know. Jacob Vargas, nice to have you here, Jacob. Good evening, Jim, Bob, and Knife Junkies. One of my favorite is the Greek hoplite or the Zephos. I love that knife. That's the one. It's a big leaf-shaped double-edged blade that has a wasp waist. Sorry, I'm far from the mic, but starts out somewhat wide at the guard, gets slender, and then widens out, and it's double-edged, and then comes to a point, and it's beautiful. The Xiphos or Zephos, not sure how that's pronounced. RNT 67, nice to have you here, good sir. Hello, Bob. As a Filipino from Mindanao, southern Philippines, the Chris and Barong are my favorite blades from our region. Mabuhay. All right, RNT. I'll show you my favorite. I have two barongs. One of them's over there. It's very cool. It's got a hilt that has a wire sort of net around it that my brother got me. That's way unique and cool and beautiful. But this one is my pride and joy. I rebuilt the sheath. I got this years and years ago at one of the 6th Avenue flea markets in New York. I'm sure you can't buy swords in New York anymore, but I was there during the golden era. Look at this beauty. Really, really beautiful. Gorgeous hilt. Feels great in hand. It's all still so sturdy. And this is most probably a World War II bring back from a GI, and it is still solid and stout. I mean, and I put an edge on. I mean, it was sharp when I got it, but I kind of foolishly put a fresh edge on it years ago. I say foolishly because I probably just should have let it be, but it's incredibly sharp and full flat ground and wicked and moves really great. And well, sir, thank you. Thank you for mentioning it. I love this barong. It is probably my favorite of the long swords on the wall behind me. I love it. Long swords meaning not the daggers and those things are also great, but I love that barong. Love it. I'd like to get a modern barong. I've got a couple of the old ones, and I've got a barong machete from Cold Steel. But yeah, if you ask me, maybe I'll go over and get that other one because it is super cool too. But the blade on this one is in outstanding shape, as is the sheath. Fishbag says, yes, I'm Craig. Okay, Craig. I thought it was you. For some reason, YouTube changed it when I logged on. This happened last week or the week before. Instead of seeing what you type in, I'm seeing your hashtag whatever, like Hero Sticks. Good. He says, hey, junkies, received my advanced Knife Bro Stumpfish today. If you're on the hunt for a slip joint a little on the heftier side, highly recommend. So I have Jocks right over here in a box that has to be sent out this week. And it is sweet. I think I showed it off a couple of weeks ago. It's really cool. It's really nice. And the spring on the back, the slip joint spring is super stout. Very, very nice. What the hell is this? Let's see. Clark Henry says, Clark, nice to have you here, sir. If we include swords, which we are, I like the Scottish Claymore. Shout out to Bill Wallace. Yes, yes. I don't believe that he carried it on his back unless it was to get there and then he pulled it off his back and then because I mean that's way too long for anyone with normal arms to actually unsheath. Jeffrey Wright. Nice to have you here, Jeffrey. He says, in the movie Big Jake, John Wayne had a lever action switchblade. I've searched for years and have not found a single one that I think matches the one in the movie. All right, got to write this down, got to do some research because that sounds like a movie prop. He said lever action switchblade. action switchblade, and you said John Wayne. What movie? Big Jake. Okay. I want to check that out. Big Jake. All right. Good luck in your hunt, and I'll see what I can find. Matt Maurer, nice to have you here, Matt. Bob, what up? Oh man, Matt, if I were to answer that question, you'd all be bored and in tears. So all's good. I hope you're doing well, man. Those color combos are wicked nice. I don't know. This is it the hashtag knife color combo? Because that's pretty sweet. Or maybe it's the black micarta, which hasn't turned black yet, and the desert tan on the 3-dog knife, and Trevor Barrett knife called the Champion blade, by the way. I'm not sure, but thank you. I appreciate it. Cat Scratch says the Benchmade 42 Bally song is Channel Titanium, a Weehawk blade, discontinued and considered as one of the stepping stones step forward modern Bally songs. Okay, so this is cool. So Channel Titanium, it's an integral, if you will, and the Weehawk blade, kind of a drop point with a swedge that was associated with a certain designer, and that is the guy who did the Conan sword, who also did that knife with Benchmade. Someone remind me. Just give me the name. The guy who did the Conan sword. It's like Jody Sampson. Jody Sampson. Yes, I think he's the guy with whom Weehawk is associated, because you really don't see that style, that name used for that style of blade anywhere else. Incidentally, I first saw that written on paper in a Tactical Knives magazine, returning to New York City in Weehawken, going through the bridge, going through the tunnel. So there was a bit of I still remember that, a bit of a coincidence there. 5-door, nice to have you here at 5-door. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Favorite historical has to be the sax for me. I do love a good sax, but for me, it's got to be a brokeback sax, and what I take that to mean is it's got to be like this. It's got to have a long descent to the point so that it's a good thruster. Unlike, say, the Storm Strike or something like that from Tops, which is also cool, but it's a much more oblique angle from the break to the tip. It's more like that, and I like a longer thrusting kind of Scramma sax style tip. Tioga Pires. Hello from Portugal. Hello, sir. It's awesome. I think this is the first time we've had anyone from Portugal, at least a pipe up in the comments. It's awesome to have you here. I do ship to Portugal, so if you want a cool little EDC knife, put hashtag knife in the comments, Tioga, and I will send this anywhere in the world. It just might take me a while to get to the international because I have to get to the post office for it. But please put that in down below, and thank you for joining us from Portugal. I've never been to Portugal. I've been to Spain. That's the closest I've been to Portugal. But I hear you have a beautiful country. So welcome, sir. Adrian Fighter 35. Good to have you and your better half here with us, presumably. I hope you're both having a great evening. He says, good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Hope everyone is doing great. Being a Texan, I love Texans. Being a Texan, naturally, my favorite blade from history is the Bowie knife, or Bowie. I'm going to say Bowie. It's not really, but also, it's not real, but also Excalibur. Well, that's kind of like a couple of weeks ago, someone mentioned Hattori Hanzo's swords, and those aren't necessarily real, but they're real in our imagination. Nomad, good to have you here, Nomad. You usually have another part of your name that's not 7482, but I don't remember. But you're here, and I appreciate it, Nomad. The Roman Gladius was the AK-47 of the ancient world. It was a cheap solution to a problem, because before they had the Gladius, they had the slashing swords, that looked kind of like the Copus, and they were finding that they had a lot of dying guys on the battlefield, dying enemies and not dead enemies. So that the Roman army had to employ pikemen to go around with spears and stab everyone, kill everyone off. And that cost extra money and it was inefficient. And the Romans were all about efficiency. So they created the gladius for thrusting and killing with the thrust, which is much more efficient strike. And they changed their whole doctrine for, combat with a sword. So yeah, I like the gladius too. It's an innovation, and to this day and age with the AI and the smartphones, it's a kind of a primitive innovation, but damn it, it's an innovation. We Romans, we brought soap to the world. We brought water, inland. We did all sorts of stuff. I include myself in the Romans because I'm 1/4 Roman, I guess you could say, at least from that region. Hero Stick says stickers and coasters received for rejoining the Gentleman Junkie squad. Thank you, Bob. Hero Sticks, I hope you're enjoying a single malt scotch or a Pepsi or whatever it is you like to enjoy on a Thursday night, and you're not ruining that wooden furniture and you're putting it down on your coaster. Thank you, man. Thank you for rejoining. I appreciate it. John Martell, good to have you here, John. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Good evening to you, man. Hope the world's treating you right. My Knife Journey. Good to have you here, My Knife Journey. The mayhem went through the carpet pad, the hardware. Yeah, the joists and the main load-bearing steel beam. It's a cold steel. Well, luckily I was in the kitchen, but I'm not in the kitchen, in the basement. Pardon me, but this tip hit the concrete floor numerous times, much to my gritted teeth and dismay. And look at it. It's barely showing anywhere. Because I was going like this. God damn, swearing and cutting, and everything is gross and it stinks and it's wet because we had a little bit of a flood in here. And boom, I went like this. Boom, and it hit the floor a bunch of times. This AUS 10 is awesome. And by the way, yes, it dulled, and not dull, but it wasn't as razor sharp. And I would a couple of times angrily on my strop before I would get back to action, and it sharpened up primo. So I can say, though I love this thing because it's big and audacious and comical looking almost, it is a great working knife. And that Atlas lock is, I felt very confident with it. So yes, sir. OG Blade Review says, speaking earlier of the Chinese sword, my old axiom is 100 days to master the Dan Dao, that's the broadsword, 1,000 days for the spear, and 10,000 days to master the double-edged sword. Well, that's interesting. That stands to reason. They say 10,000 hours. Was that 100,000 or 10? Jim, can you go back to that for a sec? I'm terrible with numbers. 10,000 days to master. So they say 10,000 hours to master anything. But let's just call a day an hour. And that makes sense because the Dan Dao, that's the, right? And you could have that ricochet back onto you or put your hand on it. With the spear, you have the haft and everything. But the double-edged sword, where you only have this much to grip onto and the rest is long, sharp, double-edged steel, it's unforgiving. So I could see how that would take much longer. Level on up. Nice to have you here, Level. He says, hey, Bob, Jim, good to see ya. Good to see yous. Well, it's good to be seen, sir. Terminator Joe says, I got the Ned Foss Tiger Roar, a Muso Bowie for $79.99. Not sure who the maker was, and a Cold Steel Voyager XL serrated Tonto, plus the Recon XL. Hasn't left my pocket yet. Might buy another and a snag. Yep. Well, first of all, not a bad idea to buy a second. My ESK today is a second. I usually don't buy two of knives I love, but I loved my ESK so much for many, many years. I bought another one, and it's been riding around with me ever since. Tiogo Pires says, why are Bowie knives so famous in the knife community? Well, let's see. Well, I don't know about all knife community, but there are a number of different faces of Bowie. I'm going to put a couple of down here. This is a Bowie, and let's see. This is a Bowie. So let's just use these two for right now. Two extremes here. One has this long straight clip, very sharp for fighting. And this one has this. This is more of a Marine Raider style Bowie with a very curved clip. I mean, also for fighting, but also I've used this for not many things. I've used this to pound through wood to split logs and stuff like that around the family fire pit. I've also used it to take down saplings and vines, which are, like big thick ass vines that we've got growing on some of the trees in my backyard. So this is a great working knife. This is a great fighting knife, but also, at least in the American knife community, they're held up. It's like jazz or rock and roll. It's one of the few cultural things that you can point to that are uniquely American. That's not to say that clip point knives didn't exist before the Bowie knife or don't exist in other cultures, but we kind of really took ownership of it. And so a lot of the knife community, at least the ones that we speak to here, are American. Not all. Certainly, we've got Australians, we've got someone from Turkey, we've got you in Portugal, but we have a lot of Americans, so we take pride in it too. So it's kind of a half and half pride innovation thing, but also it's uniquely American in a lot of ways. At least that's my half drunken explanation. One Moon Collective, nice to have you here, One Moon. He says, I used to have an original Western Bowie. Ooh, I got one right here, but I got taken by the state police when I was hitchhiking when I was a little kid. That sucks, man. That sucks. So I have this one here. This is a W49 Western Bowie with an anonymous, I don't know what kind of bone that is, but it's a bone handle and a slightly tweaked front guard. Someone pounded on that really, really hard to get it to bend down further because I've tried to bend it back and it's nearly impossible. My brother got this in a pawn shop and I basically talked him into giving it to me, meaning like he was like, I'm sick of hearing it. Here, take the damn Bowie. And my brother, as I've mentioned many times, is super generous. And this Western W49 is one of my favorite knives. So hold on to that, brother. Hold on to that one. Drop the sheath and I will get that later. I don't want to forget. Cesario, nice to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob. Good folks practicing with double phoenix swords. What's that? Two 18-inch double-edged swords. Makes me feel like I'm in the past. I love it. But 18-inch double-edged swords, like what do they look like? Or where are they? Chinese? Phoenix? I don't know. Let me know. I'm unfamiliar with that style of knife. Nomad says because Bowie knives are badass and then laughs. Yep, I agree. I mean, they are. That is the ultimate explanation, but you could get, pardon me, you could get quasi academic about it. Well, technically, Old Man on the Ridge. And I would add Old Man Shouting at Clouds. That's me. Old Man, good to have you here. I love those big fixed blades. Me too. Me too. This one is my current favorite. This is the Hogtooth Knives Fighting Bowie, inspired by the Bill Bagwell Hells Bells Bowie. But I will tell you this, over Thanksgiving, my dad encouraged me, so we did this. He said, didn't you have someone on your show from close by here? And I thought about it. I was like, oh, Nick Bachtel. Nick Bachtel lives close to here. And we mapped it out. And he was like a 15 or 20 minute drive away. So I called him or I texted him and he's like, sure, come on down. So we went to his shop, which is basically the garage of where his parents live, where he grew up. He's moved away from there, but he still has his shop with all his super old, like over 100-year-old equipment everywhere. Because Nick Bechtel does everything. If you listen to the interview we did here on the show, he does everything super old school. So I went and, there was no videotaping. He was not comfortable with that, but we walked through his little garage shop. He showed us all the cool stuff. And my dad's like, I want to get you one of his knives. So I'm on his books for a Bowie knife that I can actually carry. It'll be about a 5.5-inch Bowie knife, similar to the one that Nick wore at his wedding. I forgot to tell you about this, Jim. So that'll be coming to me sometime in the summer, because he does everything with old school tools and his stuff is so finely finished. Check out Nick Bechtel Forging Company, I think, on Instagram. Just the most beautiful stuff. Really beautiful. And this is going to be a little coffin handled Bowie. Overall 13 inches overall, that I'll be able to slip and just walk around with. I can't wait. Anyway, Benny's dad. I know you go as something else, but Benny's dad, he's a gentleman junkie. Nice to have you here, good sir. Evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Favorite historical knife for me has to be the Bowie. Oh, man, I'm loving it. So many Bowie people, but I'm an equal opportunity knife lover. If someone said the Yatagan, which is what this knife was inspired by, hopefully this gets made by TKL Knives sometime here soon. But this is a 3D, whoops, glad it's just a 3D rendering of it. But Yatagan, that's also a really cool one. So it doesn't just have to be a Bowie, but I love that we have so many Bowie guys. Victor, we got Staten Island Edge Victor with us. Hey, Pezan, how you doing, man? Hey, guys, hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good one, too. So nothing like a cold steel pirate's cutlass to keep away those fiends from the Barbary Coast. That is a sweet one. I got to say, that cutlass, I've wanted that one for a long time and just have never pulled the trigger on it. And before Cold Steel came out with their cutlass, I was looking at a windlass pirate cutlass. They're always a little bit smaller because you're dealing with rigging and you're fighting around like all these obstructions. So it's got to be sort of short bladed for a sword. But I'm with you, man. I think that is an awesome sword. Thomas Wheeler, nice to have you here, sir. I'm not very old, so mine is the reverse S blade on the Spyderco Civilian. I'm not that old. But I hear you, Thomas. I love that. And if you like the Civilian, you will love the Black Talon 2 from Cold Steel. A great double S curve blade. It's got the same sort of edge profile, but a thicker, a more robust blade altogether. Like the Civilian is reserved for cutting flesh, in a pinch. The Black Talon 2, you can do a lot of stuff with that knife. So take a look at that knife. You might like it, and it's more affordable than the Civilian, or get both. Scott says, love the 3-Dog Knife Riot. Yeah, it's an awesome knife. If you really like it, go to theknifejunkie.com/3dogknife and use the coupon code KnifeJunkie. Get 25% off. 25, that's a quarter of a percent off. That's pretty good. Malcolm Holt, nice to have you here, Malcolm. Woohoo! Just made it. I'm glad you made it. Just like Dion Page, right before this show, I smoked a nice cigar. And I kind of felt like that while I was out, like, woohoo, look at me out here looking at the full moon, smoking a cigar before my show. It was nice. It was very nice. Dion says, hello, King Junkie. Well, hello to you, Dion. Hope you're doing well. You and your lovely lady. Jim and all you junkies, I'm here. And brothers, I have a haul of knives on the way, thanks to my new knife brother, Adam Hicks. All right, Dion, don't leave us on tenterhooks. Tell us what you mean. What did he do for you? What knives do you have coming? Major Hall. I love it. Seth Lang, nice to have you here, Seth. Cheers, crew. I can't stay, but oh yes, yes, you're but for sure, I'm sorry. I can't say for sure, but Peshkabs and Persians. I love Peshkabs. That was another one that kind of went into the inspiration of this. Persians, daggers, and the cutlass are all jockeying for a spot right now. But put a Bowie in my hand, and I won't be complaining. The Peshkabs is really cool, and it its tentacles run throughout the Middle East. Am I right, or am I just waxing poetic? But I know that the Peshkabs has taken many different forms, but it also I should say it always has a recurve and a reinforced point, which I always thought was cool. Rogue Wolf Blades, good to have you here, Rogue Wolf from Florida, USA. I love Florida, and I haven't been there in ages now. Yeah, I guess last time I was in Florida, I was in Miami, which is cool. Not my favorite place. My grandparents used to live on the other coast, and I would go to visit them. And I loved how hot it got. I loved the big, giant cumulus clouds. I've seen the most bald eagles ever down in Florida, and also we were near the Dali Museum. I like Salvador Dali. I loved it. Plus, I was visiting my grandparents. May they rest in peace. Malcolm says, depends on what we call history. My kids say that the Rambo knife is history. Yeah, no doubt. It's like when you tune into the classic rock station and they're playing like Pearl Jam. You're like, oh, God, really? Pearl Jam is classic? That's like yesterday. Dion Page says that hashtag knife is super killer. Come on, Dion, sweet little blade. All right, what's he talking about? He's talking about this. Oh, I got it. Dadgummit. I wish that was on camera. I got it. This is the beautiful Colibri from Max Chichuk, designer and Shield and Knives. We're giving this away tonight. All you got to do is put hashtag knife in the comments. Jennifer J4010. We'll just say Jennifer. Good to have you here, Jennifer. Oh, Jenny. My favorite is the katana. There can only be one. There can be only one. Yes, yes, I'm with you, and I love your tree against the setting sun. I love that. I take pictures of that very setup all the time. But yes, the katana or the wakizashi. I think I might even be a bigger fan of the smaller knife, the wakizashi. An American father says, well, I can tell you the family pronounces it Bowie. I don't care. I don't care. Just kidding. I do kind of care, but I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Yank. What can I say? I live below the Mason-Dixon, but my heart is still up near Cleveland, Ohio. So Bowie it is. And I can't say David Bowie. I cannot say David Bowie, even though Parliament Funkadelic says it in one of their songs. They call him David Bowie. I'm like, what are they talking about? Until I got wise. Strings says, what up, Bob? How you doing, Strings? Hope you're doing well. Jim and all you knife junkies. Just finished a gig and ready for Thursday night knives. Strings and his lady are always out playing music. I think that's so cool. I've been on a little music kick. I love the band Tool. I'm a huge fan of Tool. And, I play bass. So I've been digging into Justin Chamberlain's bass playing recently. And it's, oh, man. In another life, I'll be a fighter pilot, and in another life, I'll be a professional bass player in a giant, really artistically advanced progressive rock band who doesn't have a drug problem. That's gonna, So I got a couple of different lifetimes measured out here. Old Man on the Ridge says most of my big long knives are actually World War I era bayonets. It's interesting. I've got a number of bayonets, and I was just home visiting, and my brother, we went through his whole den full of cool stuff. And bayonets, they have a different energy to them because if they were ever used, they were used in fear and anger. or you know what I mean? Because they probably weren't using the bayonets to open up MREs or whatever the equivalent was in World War II. They weren't using it as much for utility as, say, a K-bar, something much smaller and sharper. It was so they do, the bayonets have like a different vibe. Kind of like these things up here, especially the Filipino ones, which the Philippines, that's a bladed culture, especially from when these uh, were made and carried. They weren't carried just because they were cool. Like the Pyrotech tsunami. Anyway, Level On Up says, not sure if it counts. It does. But I always thought the bayonet is a brutal tool to have just in case, but also just looks cool. All right. Well, this is great. That's exactly what I was saying. And actually, I have the bayonet my brother-in-law carried in Iraq. He was there 2004 through 2006. So very beginning of the war. He was part of the push up to Baghdad in the Marine Corps. And he only had to fix bayonets once. It was a crowd situation. He's a very, very cool guy. And man, he's got cojones that he doesn't even brag about. Have a knife day. Good to have you here. Have a knife day. Another guy with giant cojones, if you don't mind my saying so, who also has served this country with incredible honor in one of the most storied units ever. So great to have you here. Have a nice day. Hope you're doing well. Miranda Wilmore, the other half. Good to have you here. Hey, everyone. Long time, no talk. We'll talk away, Miranda. Justin Gilead, nice to have you here. Love that Ganunting, he says. Justin, I just saw, because I'm on their mailing list, but traditional Filipino weapons is kind of always out of the Ganunting. It's their most popular sword. They have it back in stock. Check it out. And they've extended the back sharpened swedge from what I have, which is like 3 inches to like 6 inches. It's bigger. And we all know a bigger, sharper swedge is better. So go check it out if you love it. They might still have some. Komatsu from Granby. Nice to have you here, Komatsu. Buck 110 boat. Okay. All right. Since you said so. Oh, that's my 112. Hang on. I agree. This is an awesome knife, and this is a knife from history. I think this first came out in 1964. Look at that freaking beauty. This one, of course, is a modern one. I got this from Walmart 10 years ago. So it's got the pack of wood instead of the ebony, but it still has the beautiful brass. And the longer you have it, the more those pins show up. And it is so sharp. This knife, 420 HC with the Paul Boss heat treat. This does not have the Paul Boss heat treat, maybe because this is a big box store version, but I love this knife. White Eagle Studios, good to have you here, White Eagle. Smith & Wesson 600 Bowie, #knife. Oh, that's the Shining Mountain Bowie, right? That's the Mike Stewart designed Bowie that you can see versions of it in Inglourious Bastards. It's that shape. I think that's what you're talking about. If I'm wrong, let me know and correct me. Tell me what the Smith & Wesson Bowie looks like. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, unless it's a Winchester and I'm just mistaken. Scott says, Bob, if you ever decide to get a Scottish basket sword, I think I just did, I would recommend a friend, Rob Miller, master swordsmith of Castle Keep, Isle of Skye. How freaking cool. Castle Keep. You know what you do when you write him, you just put on the envelope, Rob Miller, Castle Keep, Isle of Skye, and it gets to him. Sword maker. How cool. He's slow, so you'd have years to save. I love it. How cool. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that a basket hilt sword is quick or easy to make. I mean, you got a lot of metal to bend and such. For me, says Have a Knife Day, for me, a coffin handle Bowie is the way to go. Yep. I do love the shape of the coffin handle Bowie. And the one that I'm gonna get from Nick Bachtel has that. This is kind of a coffin handle. This is a Musso style Bowie. I love this thing. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Nice to have you here, sir. Hello, Bob, Jim, and all junkies. Hope you're doing well, Angry Tom. He's also a member. String says, my favorite blade is the Bowie clip point with the sharpened swedge. I gotta say, you don't have to have a sharpened swedge, but why not? Unless it's a folder and you can't quite fit it all in the handle, why not sharpen that swedge? Zachary Schmidt says, the Western Tonto a la Cold Steel. Question, Bob. In your opinion, do you feel the Western Tonto has earned it? I do. I love the Western Tonto. It's super utilitarian. Also, if you use it, in a fight, I think it's very good to go in a fight. I don't have one around me, but that secondary point is great for percussive kind of snap cuts and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's earned it 100%. 1980 is when the first one really came out. That's earned it. That's definitely earned it. 40 some odd years. 44 years. Dion Page says, my favorite blade is the big, sharp, pointy one. All right, that said, oh, wait, one more. Old man says, my best collectible fixed blade is my blackjack. We have model 1, number 7, or number 1-7. Bought it at a Pew Pew show some 40 years ago. I had a blackjack model 1-7 that I traded with Dave of OG Blade Reviews. And I got a Randall to take its place, but I still kind of wish I had the one I traded away. Huh. All right, that said, let's get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Front right today, I had the Hinderer XM 18. This is my Sponto, which I had reground. Look at that. It is so thin. I got this done from Josh at Razor Edge Cutlery. It is so thin and so sharp. And this, to me, is what the Sponto blade should be. It should be a nice hollow ground main edge with the flat ground forward edge. This one has an aftermarket scale. Actually, I think I got this from Hinderer. But beautiful maroon micarta. For a while, it was almost black and dark because I used this one when I was cutting some barbecue and a bunch of pork fat got on this micarta. And for a couple of years there, it was extra dark. And I think over time, it's just sort of soaked into the clothes, the pockets I put it in and whatnot. I'll tell you why. I was going to say, I'm not sure why I carried that because I haven't carried it in a long time, but I know exactly why. Because I was going to be working around firefighters today. That got canceled. But I was like, firefighter, I should carry a Hinderer. And so that's the one I popped in my pocket. Next up, I also had this on me. This one used to get a lot of use when I was indulging in some bad habits, which I no longer indulge in. But this is the awesome jackknife, medium jack from Case. I absolutely love this knife. Razor sharp, hollow ground, stainless steel with the black Delrin. This is not a very common Case knife to find, to see. Not that you can't just go on Amazon and buy it in a second, but it's one that you don't see too commonly. It's on that medium frame that sometimes you see. You see the Stockman, but this is just a 2-layer. So there it is. Really, really great knife. Highly recommend that one. On my belt today, no new surprise here, but I was carrying the Agent 001, and my new boss, who is shaping up to be a good dude, saw this on my belt. He's like, "Are you carrying a knife?" And I was like, "Yeah." Ordinarily, I don't have this where it can be seen, but today I did, and forgot all about it because I was all bundled up to be outside all day. And then I took some of the bundling off and forgot that this was under there. But he was cool, checked it out, and thought it was nice. So TKL Knives Agent 001, my design with Tim Kell and TKL Knives. And this is from the second run, so you can see all that beautiful Nick Chuprin milling there. Just, he did such an awesome job. And I'm a huge super fan of the Battle Lock grips. Never thought I would be until I got them in hand and actually saw the beautiful saturated color of these scales in person. And then last up, we've been talking a lot about Bowies tonight. One of my favorite Bowies of all time is the Cold Steel Trailmaster. And I've had my Trailmaster for about going on 30 years. So I figured I'd get a new one in 3V. And so I've been kind of carrying this new one around in my bag a lot. Got a 0 ground swedge. So great for fighting if you have to fight with this. It's also very well balanced, has a great grip, and moves excellent in hand, 5/16 of an inch thick. But really, it's just an all-purpose great knife. The one that I've had for many, many years has gone on adventures with me, done a lot of travel with me, but also has done a lot of straight up batoning and log splitting in the backyard near the family fire pit. So a great knife. And if you're wondering what your first Bowie should be, I would say you cannot miss with the Trailmaster. And it comes in 3V or a less expensive version in 4116, I think. And that is awesome. It's the same steel as this. Let's see. What is it? 4034 stainless steel. So whether you get it in 3V or the much less tough and expensive 4034, you're in fine shape. It's a slab. It's a big, thick slab of full flat ground steel. You can't go wrong. And it's full tang. Unlike the knife I just had out, which is a cable tang, this is a solid tang all the way down. So I love it. This is what I had on me. What did you guys have on you? Let me know. I had the Cold Steel Trailmaster in 3V. I had the Agent 001 from TKL Knives, and let's just say myself, I had the Case Medium Jackknife. Great walk and talk, by the way, on this. Excellent utility knife. And then my ever-beloved XM18 with the special aftermarket grind. Ira Hayes, nice to have you here, Ira. He says, good evening. You're looking good, and I hope Jimmy Notes is too. K-Bar. Thank you, my good man. And I just saw Jimmy Notes yesterday for lunch, and he was looking mighty fine with his beard getting ever a bushy. So, yeah, we're doing well, and thank you, Ira. Hope you're doing great. K-Bar, awesome choice. Matt Maurer says, I was talking about the blue and yellow one, Bob. All right, so here we go, blue and yellow. We're going to do this giveaway in a let's see, about 3 minutes. We're going to do this. Kodiak Edge. Howdy, Knife Junkie. Howdy to you, Kodiak Edge. Hope the world is treating you well, sir. If you like this knife, Kodiak, just put hashtag knife in the comments, and it could be yours in 3 minutes. Mike says, I've also been partial to kukris or maybe parang machetes for a historic style. Yes, I do like the parang. I have the, well, it's in the other room. I have the Condor knife and tool parang, and that thing is heavy duty. I usually think of parangs more like machetes, but this one is thick. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. String says, I tried to share pics with you a few days ago of my new N-Trek USA fighter. Don't guess my message found you. It's a super sweet fighter with a sharpened back edge. N-Trek. Oh, dude, I think we may have talked about this. I love N-Trek knives. Why did I not get it? Did you text me? I know you got my number. We'll figure that out. I want to see this. I love N-Trek knives, and I know the gentleman who made them has passed away, and they're not making them anymore, but I always wanted one of those. Craig says, among the Bowies that I own, it's usually the Trailmaster and Recon Scout I love the most. but they're hearing footsteps from the 1917 Bowie as it tries to sneak its way in there alongside them. So the Recon Scout, I've never had a Recon Scout. I feel like I should get one. So maybe I should. DL Letterman, nice to have you here. DL, he says, evening, gents. Good evening to you, man. I hope you're doing awesome. Put hashtag knife in the comments. We need more. Let's build up a head of steam in the next 2 minutes. We're going to give this away in 2 minutes. I want to see a couple more people in the chat. Put hashtag knife, please. And if that shield and knife and this cool pouch that comes with it is not your thing, give it away to a friend. Look like a hero. An American Father says, I also received my stickers and was once what once was a coaster, I quickly turned it into a magnet for my toolbox. Oh, how cool. Awesome, man. I love that. I thought maybe it got to you all mangled. Northern Knife says, I have a Wakizashi from the 1700s and I will never get rid of it. Yeah, you shouldn't. That is my all-time favorite blade from history. How cool. From the 1700s. Who knows what that saw? My God. Dion says, the Grail Bowie for me is the Western W49. I picked up a 1977 case XX Kodiak Hunter in mint condition with box, also in mint condition a few weeks back. That is awesome. And to get it with a mint condition box, that is not easy. And for me, I don't care about the box so much, but to get it as a collector, especially from 77, that's amazing. DeLemon Trauma. You are. Anyway, I recognize you. It's great to have you here, man. Evening all. Oh, what do you go by? Have a Knife Day says the United States with the Bowie. Jim's brother Resin, or Reason. I always say Resin, but I'm not sure if it's Reason. Was a person that understood promoting. Jim has a grand and desperate fight, and his brother promotes it, and his brother into legend. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, promote. It's good to have a hype man for sure, especially if you're getting into a Bowie knife fight on a sandbar. Kodiak Edge says George Wastingholm. Sorry, George Wastingholm invented the clip point Bowie. We Americans adopted so well today in the early 1700s. Interesting, George Wastingholm. I will have to look up Mr. Wastingholm. Brotherhood of the Bowie. Yes, Sean. I couldn't agree more. And then Bobby Rains chimes in, who is obviously a Bowie master. The handle on that old W49 is probably from... Exactly. That's, oh my God. That's so funny you say that because I always call it anonymous bone. I'm always like, is that better not be human bone? It's just gross. But yeah, I like that because this was obviously some biker's knife, someone who thought they were going to need to fight with this, and then they had to sell it because his old lady got knocked up or whatever. And that's fucking funny. Jesse Reisbach, nice to have you here, Jesse. The Ulfbert sword was something special. Now, is that one of those super special Viking swords made of really excellent steel when most Viking swords were made from crap that was found? Wow, that Tikel Yatagan is amazing. Thank you, Adrian. One of these days, it will become reality. He also made a smaller version of this as a resin print. But yeah, I would love to see this thing made. Cesario says, double Phoenix swords are old Chinese swords, 18-inch, double edge, flat in the middle with a U-shaped guard. Okay. They look like one sword when held together. Okay, I'm familiar. Though my mind keeps flicking over to the butterfly swords with the D guard that kind of do the same thing. But I think I've seen those swords. Ira says, after I got the Cold Steel Black Talon, I had no desire for the civilian. It's old tech, ancient, basically. I see what you mean. It's got a place, but I see what you mean 100%. Plant Daddy, good to have you here, man. What up, y'all? Favorite knife from history? I don't know, man. The Bowie is so iconic. I couldn't agree with you more. The Bowie is so iconic. Have I shown all the? I think I've shown all the Bowies on the table at this point. So maybe that means it's time to give away this knife. Homie Omi, nice to have you here, sir. Yemeni Jambaya actually compliments my big Bowie nicely. Yes, yes. I guess I'm not speaking out of school when I say that Dirk Pinkerton has sent me a couple of pictures recently of some custom jambayas he's made. And I'm angling to buy one because they are so beautiful. Cat Scratch says in France we also pronounce Bowie Bowie. All right. Well, you're in France, and I love France. I've been there a bunch of times, and we Americans love saying, "Oh, the French this and the French that." French are awesome. I've had nothing but great experiences in France, except for the fact that they call the Bowie the Bowie. But I guess that can be forgiven. For all the other years of cultural history and everything else you've given to the country, I'll accept Bowie. All right, let's give this knife away. Even to Cat Scratch in France. If you win, this is going to you. So let's put this up there. Hashtag knife, 76 entries, looking good. Let's roll this in 3, 2, and 1. I see all of your names in there. I hope you all win. I hope every one of you wins, though that can't happen. Jay Corskadden. Nice, Jay. All right. Oh, beautiful dog, too. All right. So, all right, Jay, this is your knife. Congratulations, sir. And I want you to please email me at TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. And send me your mailing address, and I will get this out to you post haste, my man, in its cool little carry case, which you'll probably use for a multi-tool, which is what I use them for. Pearl Jam is classic, says Adrian Fighter 35. Yeah, classic rock. You know, yeah. When I was a kid, classic rock was the Doors, Led Zeppelin, Beach Boys, or the Animals, Mott the Hoople, all these like 60s and 70s bands. Now they're bands like that was just yesterday. Oh my God, you're a Tool fan? Awesome. Adrian, yes. Am I not a sophisticated man? I love Tool. They're probably my favorite band. Bob, you're a Tool fan? I just sold an original 1997 Anima BMG vinyl that Maynard signed for me. No kidding. Damn. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've only seen them once live, and it was for in support of Lateralis. Saw them in Connecticut, and it just absolutely blew my mind. Man, that was awesome. That was an awesome concert with an old friend of mine who I lost touch with, but should reestablish touch with because he was a great guy, is a great guy, and an awesome drummer. And he's the guy who opened my eyes to Danny Carey's drum playing. And just Tool in general. When they first came out with Undertow, I got it and it scared the crap out of me. I don't know. The music was just too intense. And then I just fell in love with them. And yeah, to me, and some people don't see this parallel. To me, it's like Tool, and then for a while it was Tool and Radiohead. Radiohead was the softer side of the art rock, and Tool was the harder side of the art rock, if you will. I mean, because as a bass player, they both do very interesting things musically, especially Tool, though. I mean, their stuff is hard to play, and so I don't know. I guess they're my favorite band. An American Father says, my personal opinion is that the Bowie name was probably pronounced like David does. But when they came to America, like many families, they changed the pronunciation. Yes, that's an interesting way of. But David Bowie was not. His name wasn't Bowie. He adopted the name Bowie because he said, like the knife, I cut both ways. That was his famous line. So I think he was like David Fabitz or David Berkowitz or whatever, and he was not David Bowie. Well, I guess he was British, so David Wolstenshire or something like that. And then Bowie was like, "Oh, this will get me in with the Americans," and because I cut both ways. But I'm with you. Stephen Michael Roberts. How you doing, Steve? What's up, Bob, Jim, and all? Hope you're enjoying your Thursday night with your beverage of choice. I was, now I've graduated to Chick-fil-A iced tea, but I had a nice single malt scotch with a cigar before the show. Tiogo says, Tiogo Pires from 1419 from Portugal, 1419. Anyway, says, I also like the Fairbairn Sykes you have behind you. Yes. Whoops, wrong side. My brother got that for me, and he's got one too. Beautiful. He also got me, well, he got me so many of these things, but I always wanted a Fairbairn Sykes. I always wanted a 1918 and a 1917. He got me both of those. Pardon me, and they're both legit. Dion says 48 blades here, a few K bars, Big Brother. So that was designed. That Big Brother was a Doug Marcaida thing. The Big Brother. The SE Hungless, I love that knife. The Spyderco Street Beat, that's a great one. The Camillus double-edged folding hunter. Oh, double folding hunter. Okay. In stag handles, that sounds. I love those double folding hunters. Two different blade shapes. Emerson CQB, Cold Steel, Tie Light, and Code 4 Kershaw Lucha Kaiser Sheep. Holy mackerel, Dion. 48 blades. Holy Christmas. Nicely done, man. Nice work if you can get it. And when it rains, it pours. Level On Up says, that's super interesting about knives, swords, bayonets, and the like. Having a different vibe when actually used for brutality and lethality. That'd make for an interesting video if able to pull off. So this one right here, this knife. I've had this knife for a long time, and I've had a number of the knives behind me for a long time, and I was showing them off to a friend I guess this is when I lived in New York, because I didn't have these in Philly, but this was a friend of mine from a long time ago, and I showed her these knives, and she was not into knives. She was an artist. We were both artsy types, and I showed her this, and for some reason, this knife in particular, she was like, "Oh, that knife." And I was like, "Really? It's not even the original handle. I mean, it's an old handle, but it looks like it was taken from like a table leg or something. It was not the original. It's like a little Taliban." And she's like, "No, no, no. That knife has some vibes to it." And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting." Because she had no opinion one way or the other about any of the other knives, but this one sent her artsy soul a tweaking. And ever since then, I've had a strange new respect for this knife. But yeah, vibes. The vibes are real, man. The vibes are real. I'll put this up. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Okay, Level On Up says, kind of brings a whole new meaning to a coffin handle. No kidding. An American Father says, today I was in the woods, a Mora number 2 around my neck. Okay, so that's with the red handle, the red wooden handle, and a Condor moonshiner on my hip. The world may be crazy right now, but it's still wonderful to be a free American. Amen, sir. Yes, it is. It is. And it's great to be somewhere where you can go out in the woods and get back to the real world and, nature. I want to do more of that. Your Yatagon design, says Seth Lang, looks great. Hope to see this project completed soon and hope to have one myself. Me too, man. Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love it. Double-edged. because I don't know. That's my default. Byron, we got Split and Slices with us. Good to have you here, sir. Today's carry is the Knife Junkie Hogtooth Knives Nova 1. Thank you, sir. The Rosecraft Overall Creek Farmhand Soddy, so it's sort of a sod buster, and the Milwaukee Fastback 6-in-1 utility. I got something similar in my car. Always great carry, but today I have to say exemplary carry. Thank you, Byron. String says, my carry today, left front pocket Leatherman Signal, right front pocket custom Chuck Hawes Anglo-Saxon Whittler. That sounds cool. And on the belt, a Lion Steel T5. Is that the one? Is that the breakdown? The one that has the key that you can take the pommel off and then the handle slides off? That is a cool looking knife if it is. And if not, all of those Lion Steel fixed blades are just beautiful. Hero Stick says, carried a tidy pair today. Something Obscene Company Mini J Cape, which I think that's one I've handled of yours. And my new Boker Thicker Clipper, which I love, both in burlap micarta and heavy stonewash. Okay, so the Something Obscene Company Mini J Cape I have not experienced, but I have a thicker clipper, but it's a custom from Bald Man Knife and Tool. So cool to see Boker pick up that design. He's a great guy. It's a great design. Cat Scratch says, like that T-Kill, need one. Well, it doesn't exist yet. This is the only version besides my drawing of this T-Kill, and he printed it out in resin. This was a long while ago, probably a year ago at this point. And luckily, I don't rely on my knife designs for a living. It's nice work when you can get it, but to me, this is a lark. So if he ever makes it, I will be grateful then. But until then, I'll keep pushing it. I'll tell him, popular demand, we better start moving on the fighter. We better start, because I mean, people are going to start breaking down the doors here. But thank you for saying so, Cat Scratch. I appreciate it. Plant Daddy says, my carry today was my ever-present RMJ Orlando. Which one's the RMJ? I know RMJ, but the Orlando. Kershaw Launch Iridium. I want that knife. And a Little Rivery Zero. So unfamiliar with which one is the Orlando, and I have no idea what the Little Rivery Zero is. I'm sure it's cool because it's keeping good company with the launch. Uriah Lost. Good to have you here, Uriah. Hey guys. Hey Knife Junkie. Well, hey Uriah. Hope you're doing great. What's your favorite locking folder? Oh my God. If you had to choose one. All right. Well, I don't, so I'm lucky. So I'm gonna say a couple, and there are way more that I love that are out of reach, but here are three favorites. The one I was carrying today, the Hinderer XM18, love that. Here's another favorite, the Manganas Steel Aurelia. I absolutely love that knife. And here's another one, the Espada XL from Cold Steel with the triad lock. I mean, it is an eclectic bunch, I gotta say. So that's a very hard question for me to answer. So I guess I'll leave it there. Tell me what yours is. I'd love to know. Kodiak Edge says, I'm carrying my Kodiak Edge Stowbuster fixed blade pocket drop and Hubertus Switchblade Solingen Germany. Oh, very nice. And I'd love to see that Kodiak Edge Sowbuster. That sounds cool. It's like a sow belly and a sod buster. So I'm guessing there's a curve in the handle. Jacob Vargas says, my carry today is the T-Kel Nautilus. I love the Nautilus and the Agent 007. I got one right here. 007. Sweet. I just got this. I love it. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door says, a knife from the 1700s? Chances are there's some bodies attached. Yeah, no kidding. Especially That was a wakizashi that Mike was talking about, and pardon me for the belch. String says, yeah, sent Entrek pics via text. I'll try email. It's crazy good and fast in hand. Oh, man. Strings, I sense a trade coming. And I'm just kidding. Sounds like you're not going to let that one go, but that sounds awesome. Yeah, email me at TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com because for some reason I didn't get the text. Unless maybe I got to dig down deep, but which could be a possibility if you sent it over Thanksgiving because I was tuned out. But I thought I got to everything. Craig says today was the 3V8010, the 5 Max, the Tylite Chris, the Voyager XL Tonto serrated, the Swift 3, the Hawkbill Spectre, and then Petrified Fish Havrog and the Buck 112 Ranger. Massive respect. Awesome, awesome carry. I'm going to put a couple of new blades out while we talk. Hell yeah, Bobby, says Belroy. Good. Thank you, man. So let me put these down. George Wastingholm and Sons Cutlery, Sheffield, England. I was thinking that was Sheffield. Invented today's Bowie. We know of it in the United States. I love those Sheffield boys with the long clips that start on the straight of the spine and then continue. Love the way those look. Thomas says the place for civilian is the uppercut. Yes, uppercut in someone's armpit, or just the armpit is a great target in Filipino Kali. There's a lot of that targeting the armpit because there's an artery in there, axillary artery. On the Edge, EDC, good to have you here on the Edge. Greetings, nice to be here and to see you all. It is nice to see you, sir. Thanks for speaking up. Matt Maurer says Bowies are the ultimate classic. Let me show you these beauties here. Nathan Hawks, hello. How you doing, Nathan? Great to have you here, man. So Civivi/Sencut just sent these to me, and I'm going to do videos of each, but they're really cool knives. The one down here, I'll start with this one. This is the Yonder from Zach of Zach in the Wild. Small, awesome, small little EDC. I really like this knife. I was turned off by the specs when I looked at them. Oh, it's too small, but really it's a great little knife. I love this thing. And despite my awkward left-handed use of it, it has great action, like outstanding. This next one is from American Outlaw, who's a YouTuber. This is his Outlaw Muck. So definitely a folding take on the Nesmuk. Also super, I love Civivi and Sencut. More than I know We makes great knives, but I love the downstream brands even more. And I love this half white, half black with the button lock. Really, really excellent. And a great looking blade shape. I have not cut a single thing with any of these three. They were just recently sent to me right before Thanksgiving. I took them with me to Thanksgiving and ended up not using them at all. But I'm about to start, and I love them. This one is probably my favorite. I love a clip point with the Fuller. This has Shred G10. This is a Sencut, so they're super downstream brand. This is the Glenspar. And really, the only difference between this and a Civivi are the materials. And I'm kind of guessing, and I guess the design, but I'm guessing that's the same between Civivi and We. This is just, it's got awesome action. It's got a really great build, super stout, gorgeous clip point blade, really comfortable ergonomic handle, awesome a swappable clip. Everything about this is great. So I wanted to show this off. I wanted to show all three of these off, but I will be doing a more close-up videos of these knives. So let's see. I showed the Agent 007, showed the Champions blade, showed all. I think I've shown all the knives I have to show you tonight, at least in terms of new ones. This thing is so sweet. This Zach what's his name? Zach in the Wild. What's his name? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his last name. Oh wait, I could tell you right now. Zach Whitmore, designed by Zach Whitmore. 14C28N. Same with this. Really cool. I love Civivi and Sencut. I've been trying to pare back on my collection, and then they send me stuff, and I'm like, but I love these so much. Bowie. Yes, thank you, 1931 Leatherworks. We have another Yank amongst in our ranks. Bowie. Yes. Just like David. Thank you very much. All right. What else we got here? You want? Oh, okay. So here's the other knife that I cut the carpet with. Hannibal Miles. Nice to have you here, Hannibal. K-Bar. Being a Marine. Well, thank you for your service, Hannibal. And I couldn't agree with you more. I love the K-Bar. What do you think of the Slabby? I personally think it's unnecessary. The K-Bar is proven over 80 years of service. And I love it. The Slabby, no doubt, is stronger, but for $250, yikes, that's a lot. But I mean, it is what it is. But tell me what you think of the Slabby. This is the other knife I used for the carpet, and it did not do as well. I got to say, it did not do as well. The Luzon, I love this knife. Maybe it's the edge was too polished and not toothy enough to get through the rough material of the carpet and the wool felt sort of underlayer. It just sort of slid, and it's very sharp. So I think maybe it's too polished, and I need a toothier edge. Terminator Joe says, I know you're probably too old to be into video games. Thanks, man. No, some people are into video games that are my age, but I'm just not one of them. But I swear there are some of us. But the Soul Calibur series reintroduced my interest in swords. It has historical and fantasy blades. That sounds cool. Only fighting game with weapons-based combat. Oh, that's cool. Terminator Joe, I'm convinced that if I were raised with video games, like my parents were against them in the 80s, like not even like passively, they were like, no. So I probably would dig them because for a short while we had a not PlayStation. What's the other one? We had the other one, and I had Medal of Honor, which I had fun playing. You know, some early version of that, and I had a flying game where you're in an any number of fighter planes, and you can bomb stuff and shoot down other planes. I loved it, but you know, I didn't have anyone to play with, and I sucked, and so that didn't last long. Kodiak Edge says Jim Bowie fought the famous sandbar fight with a George Westinghouse Cutlery Company butcher blade style knife, same knife he was found dead with at the Texas Alamo. Oh, that's cool. All right, I'm definitely gonna have to look up Westinghouse. String says Tim really needs to expedite that Yatagan. I need that in my life. All right, Tim, it's a done deal. And then I'll design a couple of extra blades for the handle and see if we can get some more out of there. On the Edge, EDC says, oops, missed again. My time sucks lately at entering. Nah, you don't look that old, brother. I'm 54. I'm an open book. I'm 54. But so that's how old I am. 70s. I remember the 70s well. Karen Slavin says, no one else has said this. My number 3 blade is the Arkansas toothpick. Karen, just say dagger. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love the Arkansas toothpick. And I gave my brother the cold steel version a couple of years ago. And I revisited with that when I was visiting my brother. I think it's awesome. I do recommend it. Terminator Joe says, I thought Pearl Jam was grunge. Alice in Chains is my favorite of that genre. Me too. I love Alice in Chains. Favorite band overall is Trivium and Megadeth. I don't know Trivium. I know Megadeth glancingly. I mean, like I know I know a couple of their big songs, but I like Dave Mustaine. I think he's cool. I heard him on the what's his name's podcast. I thought he was cool. Kodiak Edge. Jim's Bowie's name is pronounced Bowie. Kodiak. I don't care. It's Bowie. It's Bowie when you're from Ohio. Dual wielding two buoys, or dual wielding Bowie plus Tomahawk. Bowie plus, I say Bowie plus Tomahawk personally, even though I'm more, I've done a lot of double knife training stuff. Still, Tomahawk. You can do a lot of hooking and trapping, and you can do a lot of the same stuff you do with a knife that you do with a tomahawk that you do with a knife or a short sword, but you have some added benefits like the hooking, and you can still thrust. You can still thrust and stab with a tomahawk. Like you hook this way and trap, and then thrust forward and get them with that, or bonk and then flip it and. You can do a lot of stuff with tomahawks. This one is an Elmer Roosh. It's beautiful. It is amazing. And it's light and quick. And I'm very happy to have an Elmer Roosh tomahawk in my collection. Uriah says, my favorite blade of all time, and hear me out, is the large Nkosi. Because it is the knife I carry every day. So it is the knife model I have the most attachment to in the world. I get it. And I think I see it in the center of your thing there. It looks like you got, I can't tell what the other one of them looks like, an attention to detail mercantile. The other one looks kind of like a Medford, but I'm not sure. But the one in the middle, and I get it. It's the one you carry. James says, okay, 2 weeks ago, I announced I'd be selling 5 knives. Well, the video is up on my YouTube channel, so take a look. Thanks. I will, James. I will. All right. Jacob Green. Nice to have you here, Jacob. Knives from history has to be the Pugione. They were supposedly used to assassinate Julius Caesar due to their ease of concealment. And they're the ones that, we were talking before about the Greek sword. The Pugione is kind of like a shrunk down version of it. It's got a real extreme wasp waisted blade, double edged, and it kind of looks like a woman's body. Very, very cool knife, and a great choice, Jacob. Tiago says, if you read my name this way, you are very close to saying it very good. Tiago. Okay, that's what I said. Tiago. Hey, see? You can send me anywhere. Tiago. Good to have you here, man. An American father. And join us next week. And this I got to say, if anyone's still here, which you all are, or whoever's commenting, we're about to hit some major craziness here in this very room. So this show might be happening from far-flung situations with just my phone or whatever for a couple of weeks, because we got to tear everything out here. It sucks, but that's the reality of things. I'll keep you up to date on that. An American father says, Bob, I also wanted to mention that your first tool piece is really fantastic. I'm obsessed with the fact that this was the tool that brought us from the cave to the homestead, no doubt. And we definitely have Jim to thank us for the resurrection of the first tool segment, which we had the very beginning of the podcast 7 years ago, and then kind of let that go. And Jim brought it back. So thanks to Jim. And I'm glad you like it, because I love it too. Shane, nice to have you here, Shane. Hey guys, I'm very late. Shane, you're an hour and 55 minutes late. No, it's good to have you here, man. I hope you're doing great. Terminator Joe says the Muso Bowie is my favorite style of Bowie. That brass bar is a nice look, has a nice look to it. Plus that Hibben Muso in the Expendables, pulled me into the shape. So Gil Hibben, man, Gil Hibben I have very mixed emotions about, because he's got some really sweet knives, and then he's got some super fromage knives. He went super cheesy in the 80s with the fantasy knives. But he's got, like, at his core, he was a Kempo karate black belt under Ed Parker. So he really knew fighting. He designed 2 different knives that he called Kempo knives that were both beautiful. One looked kind of like a Randall, one looked kind of like a small barong. But then he had that famous recurve Bowie, the Highland Bowie. He had a number of really cool knives, and then he designed the Rambo 3 knife. Like, he has a lot of great designs to his name. Unfortunately, he did some serious cheese in there, but it's forgivable. Jacob Green says, my carry today was the NAF's Lander 1, a SOG Terminus SJ. It's easier to justify a pocket knife when it's smaller than the employer provided box cutters left in reach of the public. Yes, no doubt. No doubt. But I'm glad you're not using those things, man. I went to Home Depot once and tried to get some stisel rope, and this poor dude had like this dull ass little tiny. I'm like, can I just, may I? I pulled out I had an Emerson Horseman at the time, and so the mini CQC8, and he's like, we're not allowed to have knives. I'm like, really? You're in a freaking hardware store. Someone could pick up a pneumatic nail gun and start shooting the place up, but you have to use this dull little. It was pathetic, but I'm with you, Jacob. Level On Up says Rivery Zero is a little razor blade rectangular knife, kind of like an OTF. Oh, that is manual. When pushing the blade out, retracts. Oh, yes, I've seen that. That is a cool design. It's pretty innovative too, or as the Brits say, innovative. Jay Korskadden says, I carried the Tri-Stash Satin OG. I like that Tri-Stash knife a lot. The Kaiser T1, that's one of their most sellingest ever. Sunset top liner lock. Excuse me. And Rosecraft French Broadjack. Now, I have the French Broadjack, and I love that knife. But I've always wondered, is it a broad jack or is it a French broad jack? Like, this is my French broad. Her name is, Genevieve. Shane says, I finally picked up scales for my Sage 5 lightweight in Rex 121. Loving it so far. So yeah, those steels, man. Shane and the steels. He sent me the S110V. That thing is awesome. S110V, what is that? Spyderco, I'm spacing. The Smith & Wesson 6010 Bowie was the Blackie Collins design circa 1974. Hefty knife. All right, I got to look that one up. Blackie Collins, he's a legend. Or a sage, if we're speaking Spyderco language. Kay Mason, nice to see you here, sir. Spyderco Shaman. Oh, that's what it was, the Shaman. With micarta and DLC coated M4 pairs well with the Hogtooth TKJ Nova 1. Warm in the cockles of my heart. Hammer, nice to have you here at Hammer 777. Greetings, everyone. Greetings to you, good sir. Hope the world is treating you well as we dip out Bowie as to take Bowie or bow of, wait. Bowie as to take bow or the bow of a boat. Oh my God. I don't even know what you're saying, but I think you're on the Bowie side of things. I'm still a gamer at 54, says Shane. Shane and I are the same age, and yeah, a lot of gamers older than we are because they've been around long enough at this point. Bacor puts out some good knives. Bacor. I don't know them. I'm going to have to check them out. An American Father says, I don't know where people get the crazy stories they tell about the Bowie knife, but as I said, I've heard the story of where the design came from and the mouths of ancestors. I believe them. Dougie says, hey, got to get going. Big up for Jim. His graphics and writings on site, shorts and interviews is outstanding. Cheers, Bob. Tonight was highly entertaining. Take care, brothers and sisters. Scott, have a fine evening and an outstanding weekend. I will be seeing you shortly. Tioga says, I would love to have a tomahawk smoking pipe. Me too. Just got to put the right stuff in the bowl. Bren Blades, nice to have you here, Bren. I carry the Demco Shark Cub 20 CV Stealth quite a bit. That's awesome. That's a great knife. Nick Lane, nice to have you here, Nick. Hey, man, I just ordered the Les George Eck. Oh, I love the Eck. I'm wondering, are the screws anodized or are they brass? Not that it matters, just wondering. Thanks. I think they're anodized. But I've never taken my Eck apart, so I'm not sure, but I think they're anodized. Northern Knife says, I've had some nice Gil Hibben knives through the shop over the years, mostly stuff he made while in Alaska. Never met him. Have met his son, Wes, while they lived here, though. Great guy. All right, guys. I think that just about does it for me and Jim for this fine evening. You guys have an awesome night. On Sunday, check out the podcast with Casey Spyron of Tempest Knives. I always want to say Spyron. Spyron of Tempest Knives. You know him from the Knives Fast channel. We had an awesome conversation. He's a great dude. So check that out. And we'll be here again next week. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I say thank you very much. And until next time, don't take dull for an answer.